All right, it's time to do yet another episode of Go Talk. Today, I have Nick Sibicky. How are you?
Hello. Hip hip
Hello.
cheerio.
Nick has just gotten back from his Eurotrip, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, a little about Go, a little about his very, very popular Go channel, and just anything else in between. And I'm black. So,
Sure. Kevin's black. We're gonna talk about how black Kevin is.
yes, yes, with all my stones and such. So, when did you get back from Europe?
Just about a week ago.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
And
It was awesome.
I saw you did a lot of Go playing.
I did. It was actually really nice because when I'm home, I always feel like I should be doing something else or often even playing something else if I have friends want to have a board game night or something.
Hmm.
And of course, Go doesn't usually get played at those sorts of things. Those more social evenings. And so it's like I have to make time to play Go. But on the Europe trip, is like, oh, I've just got all this time and surrounded by people who play Go, and it's really easy just to play Go.
That's
So it was
great.
great. I played a lot of fun games,
So,
and I even got to play in 3 simuls while I was there at 3 different Go clubs, where I was the simul giver.
so I know you traveled to a lot of different places. I guess how many Go clubs do you think you played in?
Well, I can just count quickly. Basically, I met up with a player in Bonn, but I didn't play. As far as like official clubs, let's see. There's only the Essen one, the Amsterdam one, the Antwerp one, the Brussels one, and the London one, and the Reykjavik one. So I guess that's 6, I think.
Wow, that's pretty
So
cool.
yeah, I know, and it's great. And again, these are not huge clubs. I mean, I don't think any of them had more than 20 or 25 people there at the very most. Um,
That's still a
you know,
pretty big turnout for a Go, I would
but
say.
but most of them, they said also like, they normally get fewer as well. And the Reykjavik club was only maybe 7 people. And the North London Go Club was also probably not that large either. But London also has like 8 Go clubs.
Oh, really?
So
I didn't know
yeah,
they had
there's
that
kind of
many.
that.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello. So, is there anything pretty cool in terms of takeaways from just being able to see so many different Go clubs?
Uh, the takeaway for me wasn't so much about being Go related as it just was just really cool for me to go around the world and basically have de facto friends, quote unquote, right, or at least
Mm-hmm.
people I could meet and hang out with. That we instantly had a rapport because we all loved Go. So
Yeah.
that was the really nice thing. And I think often when I've traveled before, I didn't really actually think to do that. I thought previously much more like a tourist,
Right.
where you go to a place, you do the attractions, you stay in a hotel, you go to the museum, and you do all these touristy things. And for me, this trip was much more centered on meeting people and just hanging out in a place rather than being a tourist. And that's what was really, really cool about it.
Nice. I mean, what's the typical rank distribution? Is it the same as you'd probably see in a club in America, or is it?
So, it varied quite a bit from place to place. Um, I think overall, with a possible exception of Amsterdam, the
Hmm.
clubs were a little bit weaker than Seattle, but Seattle's also a really strong place to play Go.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of good event ways for people to get stronger there too.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we're kind of special in that regard anyway. We have classes 3 nights a week at the Go Center, and we have a Go Center, and
Yeah.
the Tuesday night Go Club meetings. We'll usually get somewhere between 30 to 40 people, although it's been as high as I think the high 50s
Oh wow.
on a Tuesday night. So yeah, so having that just is my baseline to comparison is probably not fair to these Go
That's true.
clubs. And again, it's really not the size of your Go club or the strength of it, right? It's really the people themselves, right? The personalities that make it.
Yeah, definitely.
And so even though and I'm talking like a hair weaker overall compared to the Seattle Go Club. But again, the Seattle Go Club is huge, so
Mm, yeah, yeah. I,
um,
I know, like with our club, I mean, like 12 to 13 people is a pretty awesome turnout. So that, like, for me to hear that, like, just a European club has like 20 or so people, that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah, and so like, Amsterdam was pretty big, and Essen. A lot of people came out to Essen, and also Essen was going on Essen Spiel. So there were a bunch of Go players from other parts of Germany there as well in town that night.
so that was so is Essen a town or is
So
Essen?
Essen is a city,
Mm-hmm.
and I called it a medium-sized city online. Actually, on my I like responded to a comment online,
Mm-hmm.
and one of my viewers, he said Essen is a medium-sized city. Ha 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 ha, because it's like the same size as Seattle.
Oh, wow.
So, but again, I don't really think of Seattle as a large city either.
That's true.
So it's tough. It's tough to, I don't know. It's all relative, right? I guess the moral of the
Yeah.
story of this entire conversation, if you learn anything today from watching us, everything is relative.
Thank you, Einstein. Um, so
Now, should I peep here? I feel like I should peep here.
do whatever you want.
Maybe it's not that good.
What was it? So I'm curious, like every time, you know how you go to a Go club, how you sometimes people like to introduce themselves in certain ways, like some people say in terms of rank. So
Mhm.
how what was that experience like? Just to, say like, "Hi, I'm next to Vicky, you know me," and then they're like,
Uh, I don't think I had that experience in any sort of authentic sense of the term. Because for the most part, with the exception of the Antwerp Go Club, when I showed up at a Go Club, they already all knew that I was coming.
"Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Oh,
like
nice."
again, I had posted a video on my channel like let's play Go in Europe and just listed all the places I was going to.
Mm-hmm.
So and so many people contacted me, and I feel so bad that I didn't get to meet so many of them.
Oh,
Like
wow.
it's my greatest shame. Between but if you take YouTube comments and personal messages and emails, I
Mm,
think there were probably close to 30 people that contacted me in some way.
wow.
And yeah, so for the most part, people knew I was coming. Again, as far as that being the most authentic experience in terms of introducing myself, happened at the Antwerp Go Club,
Mm-hmm.
where, when I sat down to play, actually, I was the second person to arrive there, because quite honestly, I actually wasn't entirely sure what time they met. Uh, and also, I was walking everywhere in Antwerp, so I didn't know how long it would take me to get there either.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I sat across from this guy named Albrecht, who was older, really didn't speak any English, and he kind of recognized me, which is the really weird thing for a person who doesn't speak English.
Right.
And in Dutch, I think he's trying to tell me like, "You're you, you're you," and we end up playing a game, and it's a fun game, and he's I don't think he takes it too serious. Like he's an older guy who really plays for the fun and going out, and again, all these European clubs met in bars.
That
So
is also something very different than I think.
yeah,
I've always felt that I guess in America it feels like it's more like, oh, you're gonna do it at a book place or a coffee place, but it
yeah.
seems to always happen in bars.
Yeah, I think the United States, the standard is the cafe and or the bookstore with a cafe. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of de facto location.
Right.
Of course, at the Austin Go Club, which where I played at for 3 years while I was in school,
Mm-hmm.
they play at a really nice game store that doesn't have a cafe,
Right.
but I think they're perhaps more the exception than the
Yeah.
rule on such a matter.
Yeah. I know. Like, I had the option of uh, putting the Dallas Go Club in a bunch of different places, and then I think we just ended up choosing what is it? We chose like a Central Market, which was actually a really good choice. But yeah, I mean, there's still the possibility, like if we wanted to, we could probably move to like a comic book store and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, especially with you, and you have like the Seattle Go Center and all these other wonderful places to choose, like just that to choose from. But yeah, people drinking Go and beer. Yeah, drinking beer and playing Go. That's got to be a pretty interesting combination.
Uh, you know, I don't know. It's pretty natural for me.
Yes, we,
Because
we
again,
have him, but like between the Go Congress and us hanging out, we have.
yeah, yeah, like Like it's not like Americans don't do it. It's just weird to have like the officially sanctioned club doing it.
Yes.
You
That's
know?
cool. But that is that's gotta be pretty interesting, and I would say like a pretty cool feeling just to know that like right now you can go anywhere and just like, play Go and a lot of people will know you.
Well, I think that quote unquote my fame, and again, the fame we're talking about here is there's probably like an extra 200 people in Europe that know me that wouldn't otherwise, right? I mean, you're still
Right.
talking about a pretty select group of people.
Right.
Uh, is also most is probably mostly limited to relatively English speaking places as well.
Mhm.
And so, in the countries I visited, for the most part, English is pretty predominant. Most of them, right? I mean, Belgium officially, like, they speak like four languages. Like all the young Belgians have to, speak, depending on which part of the country they're in, at least Dutch and or French.
Mhm.
And then there are a few that speak German as well. And then English is also just sort of the de facto, language you learn in school there as well. So, uh, and certainly Netherlands English is certainly second. Germany English is second. So, finding an English audience is not actually that difficult
Cool.
uh, in those countries. If I went to other countries, let's say I went to East Asian countries like China and Korea that already has a ton of Go content.
Mhm.
I mean, no one's gonna know who I am. I'm well aware that
Well, I
I'm
mean,
not at all famous,
oh, come
period.
on.
But I'm
At
especially not famous in
at
these
Go
other places.
Congress, remember when Cho Hae-yeon saw you?
Yeah, but she's a teacher though, and Korea is actively trying to expand Go in English and in the United States, and so, and so when she came up to me at the Go, oh man, I'm dying here.
Ah,
Kevin, don't let me die.
okay. I've changed my outlook on
Uh,
you.
yeah, you have a new mission in life. I am also getting over a cold.
Yes.
Um, when she came up to me, it was totally from the viewpoint of, hey, I'm trying to spread Go in the English language as well, and she speaks very good English, and she's trying to make English Go content, right? She's translated some of her books,
Mhm.
so I think she's the exception.
I see.
And so I was very surprised when she came up to me and was like, "I want to meet you," like you're Nick Sibicky.
So let's go from that and like let's start talking about your Go channel. How many you've done it? I think when I saw it's like started 3 years ago.
Yeah, about that. Yep.
Yeah, and I guess let's start with what started you like wanting to create Go content.
So when I started uploading videos, I was already teaching the double digit Q class at the Go Center, so I was already teaching Go,
Okay.
and I think the real inspiration for me to upload them really was Dwyron, and most I think most people who are watching this probably know who Dwyron is,
Hmm.
and I really liked and enjoyed his Go channel, and still do. I don't watch every video he makes, but I still watch quite a few.
Right.
I thought his Batman costume for the Halloween video he did was ridiculous, and that's all cool, but was still kind of ridiculous. Uh, but he tried to do the Batman voice the whole video too, which
That's got to be murder on the vocal cords.
you know, yeah. So anyway, seeing not so much that he was becoming a famous person. Again, I want to emphasize I am not a famous person. If you guys see me on the street, please don't feel like there's any
Oh,
sort
it's
of
Nick and
halo.
Sibicky.
Yeah, like again, there's a few thousand people who've seen my videos, and that's nothing. So many people make much bigger contributions to the world in so many other ways. So anyway, I saw that he was making these videos, and I really liked them. So I was like, hey, I want to, I'm already doing this class. I'm already doing the work of doing the teaching.
Hmm.
Why not put these online as well? So
So in the beginning, there were a lot of just your existing classes, and then you just released them online.
yeah, basically, I mean, I think the first really, I don't know how many, quite a few though, maybe 50, 60, 70, I think are just direct recordings from my class almost exclusively.
Hmm.
And then after that, I started to record some things online as well from my home computer. Games online, playing sandbagger games, playing just working through. I don't know what else have I done online. I guess I mostly just played sandbagger games. So I guess doing game reviews, things like that.
That's pretty cool. And then at what point so was it just mostly just a popular just extension of your existing stuff, and then you weren't really thinking of expanding it or anything, were you? Or was it it was
Not
just
really.
mostly that?
No, I mean, I was just sort of putting online and what it turned into
Mhm.
for me actually was it was extra motivation for me to keep teaching my class,
Right.
which there were many times where I was kind of like, I've got other hobbies, I've got other interests. I could be doing more work in my actual career at
Mhm.
this point. Maybe next year I'll take a break from teaching the Go class. But once I started to put them online and see how many people are actually watching them, that gave me a lot more motivation to sort of keep teaching the class and keep putting them online.
Nice. Now, I think we've talked about this once, but forgive me if I forget. But wasn't was there a point when you started realizing like the stuff that you were releasing online, like released started getting traction? Like, oh wait, a lot of people are watching these.
Um,
I
I
can
think there's just a
provide
lot of
something.
milestones. I don't know if there was a single point,
Okay.
but it's just a lot of milestones. And today the channel has over 10,000 subscribers, which for YouTube is still kind of small potatoes.
Right.
Um, I think earlier this year I looked up, like in the global YouTube database of like YouTube channel rankings,
Hmm.
and it's still like nowhere near, like, I can't remember if it was the top 500 or the top 1,000, whatever, or top 10,000. I can't
Hmm.
remember what metric it was, but it's some number that was blew me out of. I was like, look, I have 10,000 subscribers. I'm not in like the top 10,000 YouTube channels. Okay, well that's how amazing YouTube is.
Yeah. But I do remember, like, I think you said once that you were at the club and someone came from South Africa or something.
Yeah, I was actually pretty early on. While I was recording videos, and certainly in the first year of them putting online, I don't quite remember
Hmm.
which video it was in, but yeah, we had a guest from South Africa, which was amazing, and he was in town for business. He wasn't coming to see the Go Center or me specifically,
Oh, okay.
but he was doing a thing at Microsoft. He was a like a technology reporter kind of person.
Uh
I think that's a job.
huh.
Um,
We'll make it a job. It's a job.
yeah, and he said, well, I'm coming to Seattle anyway. I have to go to the Go Center and see where these lessons get made. So,
Oh, that's cool. And that must have been a great feeling, just knowing, oh wow, like,
oh, it was great. Yeah, I loved it, and it's the same kind of feeling when you meet people around the world too. You just get that breath of fresh air.
mm, dude, stay alive, Nick, stay alive.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on that.
All right, sweet. Cool. Well, that's. Man, sorry. Keep playing these moves, and I have to keep playing something after you play them.
I think you're gonna win this game, Kevin.
Don't jinx it.
Look at all the points you've taken. You're making me very jealous.
You've got a lower left corner. You've got
That's it.
the top.
Yeah, the top can be reduced so easily though. There's so
That
many
is
holes in
true.
that.
So I guess let's. Well, okay. I'll let you choose what we want to talk about next. I'm sort of curious, like how you started teaching Go be it at the Seattle Go Center, or we can talk about how you started Go.
Well, I think they're both boring.
Okay, well then, let's talk about how you started teaching
Well,
Go.
well. So I started teaching Go, I think, because I think if you were a Go player, you end up teaching Go, right? That's just sort of something you end up doing
Mm-hmm.
from the act of playing Go, is you end up teaching it. And at the same time, my normal day job, I'm a teacher, right? I teach at a college, and
Mm-hmm.
um, that's what I do. So when the Go Center was looking to launch a few more classes, Jan Boley had been teaching there for a while, and was having success with his class, but he sort of had to move on soon and was letting people know. Um, Brian Allen, the director, he was sort of taking the initiative to come up with new ideas for classes, or just having sort of a new stable of teachers and material at the Go Center available.
Right.
Do I want to play this? I guess I do. So he knew I was a teacher, and he knew I was a relatively strong player, so he just asked me, and I said sure. That was the end of the story. That's how I ended up teaching at the Go Center.
It was just so I guess the Seattle Go Center does so they do a lot of outreach in terms of teaching and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they do a lot of like outreach in schools, and they have a bunch of school programs, and they have, as far as their regular weekly schedule is concerned, there are 3 classes a week that you can take.
Oh, wow.
And that doesn't count there's usually a study group for DOM players on the weekends too. I'm not counting that.
Mm.
But there's a beginner class on Thursday nights. There's the single-digit Q class on Wednesday nights, and then there's the double-digit Q class, which is my class, on Mondays.
I see.
And I suspect for most people who are watching this video, they also know of Andrew Jackson. He's the one who does the single-digit Q class on Wednesdays.
Did he start before you, or did he start after?
No, he started a little after me. But he sort of became the person who took over for Jan Boley when Jan did move to Bellingham.
I see. Oh, cool. So you like to say that, when you do these things, you're going to start teaching. I don't do so much teaching. Usually which is a shame, but I always have a hard time teaching.
Okay.
So I'll get your opinion on it. Like, if you're trying to teach someone Go, I think Cole made the interesting point last time on the previous episode that you want to let them win the first game and not be very careful about how much of this you're gonna talk to them about. How do you approach, let's say an absolute beginner, and then maybe just someone who showed up to the club, maybe they're like 15Q, like how do you typically approach teaching someone?
Okay, so absolute beginners, I'm not sure how successful it is because I haven't done any long-term studies on my own approach. But I can tell you my beliefs.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Aren't worth a whole lot, but my belief is that for a new player, it's most important that they actually play. That's the most important thing. And you can
Right.
teach concepts a little bit, but really you just need to get them to play as much as possible. And for me, the best way to do that is through Capture Go.
Okay.
And I'm a firm believer in starting with a 9x9 board or 7x7, even if you have it.
7x7? I've never.
Yeah, the Go Center has a bunch of 7x7 boards. They're actually quite nice for this exact purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you just play Capture Go.
Okay.
And you need to get to Capture Go to the point where they're starting to see enough of your weaknesses or whoever they're playing's weaknesses as well as their own. It's their own weaknesses that's the harder part, actually.
Right.
And then and only then do I have any interest in moving on away or even discussing the possibility of things after Capture Go.
So you'll play like a game or two of Capture Go and just
It's usually more. Like the problem with my teaching method is that I believe in a lot of games and a lot of Capture Go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've said this to a lot of people who show up at our club. It's like, oh, what can I do to get stronger? And it's like, well, other than getting a teacher, if you just play a lot of Go, you're gonna pick up on a lot. So yeah. I do agree that being able to play a lot really does help. So there's a lot of Capture Go. So at what point do you maybe think about transitioning away from Capture Go and thinking, okay, well, let's talk about the actual game?
So there's actually a pretty well-defined moment for the first of that type of conversation to actually happen. And that moment is the moment when, if you're playing Capture Go with someone and nothing gets captured.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it goes to the end game where you have to start filling in your own eye space, basically. And then you start realizing the value of having more territory. Capture Go isn't really about just capturing a stone.
Right.
It's also about having more territory, because if no one captures a stone, then whoever can play more moves inside their own territory is going to win.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's a really beautiful, elegant, not solution to Capture Go, but
like a transition.
Transition from Capture Go. I don't think the players who are learning Go at the time appreciate it nearly as much as existing Go players, and maybe that's a fault with my teaching method. But it's hard to say that there are many games in the universe that transition so beautifully from the simplest rule set into actually the full rule set. Like real Go is Capture Go.
True. Yeah. No, is this something you heard? Because I know like some pros will actually say, okay, well let's start with Capture Go,
Yeah,
and which is pretty cool. And then I never thought of it like, oh well, you can use that as a way to transition.
it naturally transitions. That's the other amazing thing about it. Oh, maybe this was too small, Kevin. I have regrets now.
Well, I apologize.
I should have taken that earlier to see if you'd block the other way. All right.
So
Kevin has all the points.
yay. So let's talk. So there's that. So there, and then hopefully that lights a spark within them of really liking to play Go. The other thing, I guess, so that's an utter beginner. But I like to also think about, because at our club, someone will show up and they've heard about the game, or they're interested in picking it up, and I don't know, teaching wise, and you do this with double digit cues, where you're saying, okay, how do I choose which concepts to talk about, or teach you in a way that's not condescending, or just might be something too advanced. Or if they say, well, I don't get it, and without talking to them, saying, like, well, just do it. Because
Yeah, that here's the amazing thing is that I think Go players,
hmm
that happens so rarely. I don't care. Like it's just not a problem.
in what I'm
And
actually
that players say they don't get something because even if they don't fully understand something,
mm,
um, they'll just say, "Hey, wait, how does this like? Where is this co? How does this work?" And you can just show a variation. Or if they say, "I really don't get this concept,"
mm,
that's not something I hear very often. Most people understand the concept well. It's just the execution of it. Like
that's
Go is
true.
very natural. It's very it's not like you're doing something really that foreign in the game. Even though it's abstract, it makes sense intuitively, right? Black is strong over here, so don't come too close to black, otherwise black will eat you, right? That's a pretty easy concept that's ingrained in all of our subconsciousnesses from like years of evolution and avoiding getting eaten by whatever monsters out there, right?
Right, that's true.
So
Like
I don't know.
I agree. Well, because yeah, I've gotten lessons where, or like if a pro plays a move that's really good, it
Mm.
makes sense. But then like maybe it's because my fundamentals aren't at that point yet, and so I'm just like, oh man, like I play the move and it makes sense to me, but like being able to explain it or teach it, or say that, sometimes for me is a little bit more difficult. But maybe I just need to teach more cues. But
Yeah,
but is there an approach, like if like some a 13 Q comes up to you and says, I want to get stronger at Go, or I want to play a game, is there something that you do to help them get better?
sure. There's two things I do. The
Mm,
first is I tell them all the things that they should be doing and seeing which ones they aren't. Right, and these are things like playing games, playing slow games, reviewing their games. How ask them how often do you look at a pro game? How often are you doing problems?
mm,
If you want to get better at Go, you kind of have to do problems every day, right? That's just
yeah,
you
that
know
goes without
your
saying.
dietary fiber. And for me, I when I was especially living in Texas and a student, I was taking the bus every day. I'm actually still taking the bus every day, now I think about it. But at least when I was living in Texas, I brought a Go book with me every time I took the bus, right? So
Right,
I'd have a 15-minute ride to the university and would knock out maybe 2 or 3 pages of Go problems.
right.
So uh, it's just reviewing these things that they already know, basically.
hmm But nothing. So there's nothing you specifically do with them, like at the
Oh,
club.
well, the second thing is that I'll say, okay, well, let's look at one of your games and let's see if there's a problem area that I want you to think more about.
Okay.
And it's not always that I can give them like a direct piece of advice or like some like a new rule or axiom or Go proverb, um, just to memorize.
hmm
Um, that's an interesting move, Kevin.
I don't know how to capitalize on your weak stones. Oh, but yeah, and then that's also weak, so that's why I was a little trying to think of a move. This might not be it.
I think your move's okay, but
What I play afterwards is
shape is weird.
yeah.
Uh, so anyway, I'm trying to look at their moves and see if there's a theme in their game or games of something that obviously they haven't looked at enough or done enough problems or thought about. And a lot of times, I think it's really just pointing it out and showing them, hey, this is an area where you suck. You can do what you want about it. but this is just an area where you suck.
Right.
And I think for most people who want to get better at the game, they go, oh, of course, and all of a sudden they'll start paying much more attention to that area.
Right. Is there a common thing, or is it does it still vary a lot between every every random double digit queue that you come across?
Is it random how?
Well, are there common things that you can always point to, or is it always just like,
Oh,
well,
oh, 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 there. Oh, right. There's a list of common things. It's not like any one common thing.
mm-hmm,
But there are certainly, like at least 10 to 20 things that are pretty common that 20 Qs don't have enough experience with.
right?
Does this work?
I don't know, but it looks really cool. So that's why I'm playing it, because the crowd demands violence.
What crowd?
Well, hopefully the people who are watching this.
Oh, oh.
And you can tell I played that extremely quick. That's actually something I used to say to people who show up at the club. I used to say, you need to spend more time with your moves, but I've actually backed off from that a little,
Mm.
because I used to think, well, that's like if you spend enough time, you'll think about it. But then now I'm thinking, well, I'm sure they are, but maybe they just don't see it yet. So
Mhm.
saying spend more time might not be. And that's the thing. Like I was saying, it's hard to know for me how to really explain some of these things. And so partly because I don't teach enough, but also partly just because it some of the things I learn, they're just uh, I learned them in a way that it just feels like, okay, well, this is clearly how you do it, but being able to explain it might be different.
Yeah,
That was a long-winded answer. Thing
yeah,
I
but I
just
mean,
said.
it's
So
the nature of the beast.
yeah. So okay, and then so there's that, and then let's talk about what drew you to the game initially. Was it just because I know you do a lot of board games? You've done your
Yeah, yeah.
successful King's Forge.
I mean, this is the game that just sort of keeps giving.
Mhm,
Most other games, I'll go through a period where I get bored with it after a while.
mhm.
Either the skill levels, your skill level will plateau, um, or that's how you're defending this.
You know, I don't. Yeah, it is.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, yes, yeah. That's my move. Right, that right there.
huh, okay. Most other games, you sort of plateau, and I don't know. There isn't the sense of history or community that sort of keep it going as well.
Yeah.
And that's not really that much of a problem in Go.
What? So I guess that is true. What? So you started in when you were in Austin or
Mhm.
before Austin? Okay.
So I initially learned the rules in high school out of a math teacher who introduced a bunch of us to the game of Go.
Okay.
And he was a pretty strong player. He was probably I never really knew his real rank,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I suspect he was probably in retrospect somewhere between like 3 and 5 Q,
Okay.
so pretty strong. And he just again he liked the game and he was a math teacher and we had a bunch of students. He had a bunch of students who all like to play games,
Right.
and so he's like, well, let me show you this game. And so he did. And so there was a Korean immigrant in the class who knew how to play, and so he and I, we played, I would say for maybe about 2 weeks, like after school kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then I kind of forgot about it for a while.
Right.
And then I went off to college, and I had a friend who I played a weekly game of chess with at the college,
Yeah.
and I think on 2 or 3 occasions we're like, hey, let's play a game of Go. So I played 3 games of Go in college. And then when I went to the University of Texas for graduate school, I was just wandering into a board game store. Again, I like board games
Right.
in general, and they had a lot of chess stuff. Oh, still getting over this cold. Getting a little mucusy, Kevin. It's not going well. I'm gonna do my best. Here we go. Okay, so I was wandering the store, and they, it was a Tuesday night, and they happened to have the Go Club meeting on that night.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And I was like, hey, I know how to play this game. So I sat down and played it and got my ass kicked just by everybody there. Just unbelievably. I didn't understand like how bad I was at the game.
Right.
Because I'm generally pretty good at games, right? And I'm just getting floored
Right.
by people who I really didn't think, you know, like I don't know. There were just some strange people there. Not I like most Go players, but
It does attract a certain like strata of people that you wouldn't expect.
well, but but there were some people there who were like, not or more like ordinary everyday people who you wouldn't think play games,
I
play
see.
games that well,
Right.
playing Go and just killing me.
So I
So
know you started that. Well, and that's pretty cool. I guess the next part from that is, there's always the club, and then you step into the, I guess, the bigger world, be it through getting a teacher. And I know you've had Yang Yilin as your teacher, right?
Yulin Yang, yeah,
Yilin Yang. Oh, yeah, I use the Chinese method.
yeah, Yang Yulin.
But also, I guess let's talk about between getting a teacher and your experiences with that, and also um, your first Go Congress. I don't know when that is. When it and
That was 2009 in Washington D.C.
oh, okay, I wasn't at that one.
Yeah, what congresses has Kevin been to?
My first Congress was the Houston Go Congress in 2003.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've
Right.
and then I on and off because I mean Congress is a rather expensive
Yeah.
choice. It is one of the things I like evangelizing to anyone who starts playing Go and like really starts enjoying it. As you should think about it. But
Mm.
so I guess the choice of making a teacher. Let's start with that one. What
Mm.
brought about that choice?
Well, I think Yulin Yang's a really great teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and he's also a really strong player, and he's been teaching for a long time. And he gives workshops in Seattle, at least once a year. So I already kind of knew him through that, and I've seen him at Go Congress a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
And he's written a very successful series of books as far as how to play Go.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it seemed like actually a pretty natural choice.
It was just a natural progression. It wasn't like you hit a frustrating point and Go, and you're like, okay, I need.
Oh no, sorry, I did. So I never really had a real teacher. I mean, when I was learning at the Austin Go Club, there's a player by the name of Jeff Chevelle who I haven't
Mm-hmm.
really seen play a whole lot that recently, but he's done a lot of really great work for the American Go Association. And so you know he was sort of our resident strong player. He was a four dan
Mm-hmm.
at the Austin Go Club, and he would help review or show us cool things, and do the normal teacherly things. But it wasn't never a formalized like I never had a weekly lesson with him or anything. It was just, hey, did Jeff come to the club this night? Let's see what he thinks about this move, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really have a real teacher until Yulin Yang.
Okay.
And the real reason why I wanted a teacher at that point was because at the Go Congress that year, I had briefly lost my 4-dan ranking. I had gone from 4-dan to like 3.96 dan or something. And I was like, this cannot be. So I got a Go teacher, and then proceeded to almost go undefeated at the next year Go Congress in the 3-dan band. I just played so many kids that year, like just smacking down kids.
This thing worked like gangbusters.
That's I mean, they were just coming on everywhere. And then the championship game for the for the 3-dan bracket, as it's called, I did lose to a kid, but George, who many Go players will know exactly who I'm talking about, took me out drinking the night before.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And we had a lot of pitchers of beer. And then the thing that George did that was really upsetting to me, because I had a championship game to play the next day, was he decided that he hadn't paid his fair share in beer. So he ordered 2 more pitchers and then left the table and said, "All right, good night, guys."
That's awesome.
Well, that's George.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And so, I guess, how did you first hear about the Go Congress, and what motivated you to want to go to it?
Oh, I mean, I really wanted to go in 2008 because that was the year I moved out to Seattle, and it was in Portland that year. But
Oh,
I
okay.
had just moved to Seattle, and the wife was going, no, like you have to stay here and unpack boxes.
And you're like nuts.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I have so many problems right now.
You have problems? Look at how many points you have. How
There
do you
is
have
that.
problems? And you
Well,
have an 016 cut?
yeah.
Where is your problem?
Well, I've got to keep everything
You had this
relatively.
giant dragon group that was in so much trouble, and now is completely fine.
I think that's your problem more than my problem. So yeah, I guess I might be fine. But hmm, I think I want to do a move that gets me a little bit stronger and can hurt you.
Those are the types of moves we usually try to play, Kevin.
They are, and I think that's it. Um, so that's cool. So how like so you had a I'm guessing you had a really fun good go first time at the Go Congress.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it was great. Yeah. I mean, it's like wandering into the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Find this lost paradise of Go players.
And it's just nice to, be in a place where everyone's extremely cool, receptive and positive about Go and you get to, meet pros and do all this
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, absolutely. It's actually where I first met Haley, or Lee Ha-jin.
Mhm.
Was actually at my very first Go Congress, so I was actually her first American Go Congress as well.
Oh wow. Huh, I didn't know about that. I don't know if we're in endgame or not, by the way.
Oh, this is totally endgame, dude. Once you save that group, there's nothing left here to do.
Yeah, there's a Also, this is just going to be a little bit behind the scenes talk. How are you on time?
Um, I should be leaving in like 10 minutes.
Okay, I guess let's talk about one more thing, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Um, let's see. So let's talk about I guess do you have any big plans for I guess the whole Go channel? Because I know now you have the Patreon thing, and you were even able to release stuff while you were in Europe, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, so similar to how like the just posting the YouTube videos online gave me a lot of motivation to keep doing them.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that people have actually like donated money, like real money,
Right.
to my channel has also given me a lot of motivation
Cool. Cool.
to keep going. Because again, I don't know, I'm very distracted easily. Like, just
Ooh,
ask
a
my
squirrel.
wife.
Ooh, a squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's totally been my personality.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, it's given me a lot of motivation, and even it's especially not even like the amount of money either. It's just the fact that there's over 100 people now who've donated money to my page. It's unbelievable.
Right.
um and it really does keep me motivated. Like it's like, oh, I gotta make another video, all right, I gotta make another lesson, I gotta come up with another plan here, I gotta teach someone else something else new.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really been quite motivating. That's a good move for you, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty good shape wise.
pretty good move. Okay. uh so yeah, that's been the real success of the Patreon. And at first, I still, if people donate to Patreon, the suggested donation is $2,
Right.
um, which I think is plenty for the amount of content. I'm not. This is also something I'm not doing every day, right? I'm really only uploading 1 or 2 videos a week.
Right.
Um, so that's all. Hey, this is another good move, Kevin.
I'm
Oh my
sorry.
God, what is happening to all my points and things?
That's great though. Any words of encouragement for all the viewers out there who like playing Go?
If you already like playing Go, you're
Mm.
already encouraged.
Ah. Cool. I think we'll probably play a few moves off this, but I want to thank you again for being able to do this with me. I had a great time talking with
You're
you.
gonna leave all these viewers hanging to see how I magically come back here in endgame to nickel and dime you for the last 10 points to win by a point and a half.
I'll post a link to the SGF online. But no, yeah, thanks again for doing
Well,
this.
here, let's at least talk about the game here.
All right,
I
sure.
feel like if everyone's been watching this video, I feel like all the stuff I've been saying has been pretty boring, but the game has been maybe more interesting.
Well, you're better at counting than I am, so you would understand where the territory balance is.
Well, so here, let's just do a quick count. In the lower left, right, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 15 points in that corner, pretty solidly.
Mm-hmm.
The lower, this is just for, I'm counting white right now.
Yeah.
In the lower right, the Q2 move is actually really big.
Yeah.
But we are looking at least a solid 5, but potentially up to another 5 almost, if white gets that Q2 move, and then gets things like S8 and such in Sente.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say that's about 7 in the lower right, but that might be a little bit generous to white.
Okay.
All right, so that puts white at 22. The middle is a pretty solid 12 for white, actually a little bit less than 12. Let's say, nope, not even 10.
Feels
nope,
more
skip
than
that reduction. The middle is about a solid 7 for white.
Okay.
After it looks like your reductions of
Okay.
poking in.
Poke.
So that's only about 30 points altogether. I do have another capture right there, so easily 30. The top is the biggest question. It is black's move right now, so I am suspecting that black will get to capture at least the P16 stones and then completely ruin everything.
Yeah.
Of course, the M or N17 move is actually getting really large.
Yeah.
If white can basically give up the 2 stones and secure the territory, which might not be able to happen. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're looking at about 20, a little bit over 20 points for white at the top. But it's black's move, so white can't really anticipate getting that. So altogether, white really only has about 50 points.
Right. I've got the upper right corner and the bottom.
10. Yep. The bottom again is a pretty solid 20. There is sort of a big poke at H6.
Yep.
And there is some good reduction for white, but it's really not going to take away that many points. You're still going to get 20 points there pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
If assuming you get to capture the 2 stones at P16, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you're really looking at about 30 points on the right, depending on, again, what your next move is.
Mm-hmm.
And white will be able, even if you don't respond there, white will be able to reduce it a little bit more in Sente, but even if you do respond, white still gets Sente moves, so, it's really just a 10 or 12 point difference, I guess. So you might be able to play some other Sente moves. So anyway, on the board, in terms of like raw territory, it's really close.
Yeah.
But the scary part is when you look at this game is that white still has major reduction, K17, M18, N17 area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And white can't possibly hang on to 20 points there. So I still think white's losing, which is why I really shouldn't do interviews while playing. I did a lot of my sandbagger videos, and the reason why I was playing at such low ranks is I was like, well, if I'm talking, that takes up a lot of my brain space,
Yeah.
I'm really not a good multitasker. Again, I get distracted easily.
Well, either way, I'm still very glad that you're willing to do this interview / play with me.
Yeah, my pleasure, Kevin.
If you're ever up for it again, either a game or just, what's it called? Doing another episode where we can talk about other silly things, I'd be up for it.
Like more interesting things.
I'll think of something. And I'll, if anybody who sees this doesn't know about Nick's channel, you can check him out at, what is it, Nick Sibicky? Is that YouTube / Nick Sibicky?
It sure is.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks again, Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.